Going to be upgrading the radiator hose. As you can tell, the upper radiator literally comes in contact with the intake, and it's either resting on it or it's about a millimeter apart. And so this radiator hose gets very, very, very hot, and that heat transfers to the pipe. And yeah, they make a nice hose kit for it, the upper and lower, by Hybrid Racing. If you want to pay $80, you can do that. Nice silicone hoses. I just picked this up from Gates. It's part number 21229, and this is used for Mazdas and Toyotas and stuff like that. But if you look at it, the outlet's right here for the radiator, or the inlet right there, because it goes this way by gravity, then it pulls it from the bottom right there, and this literally goes around the intake and it goes right here. And if you match that up right there, matches up really, really nice. The only thing that I could see that's gonna go against me is the battery, so I'll probably have to cut it a little bit right here to shift it away from the battery, but we'll see. The car is still very hot and everything, so I'm just letting it cool off a little bit because I just got off the road. But today's an overcast day and intake temps are not that high, so it's definitely better driving in cooler weather compared to hot 100-degree weather. Everything's just pretty much blazing in this engine bay. And that's another thing that I noticed with the RSX, that the engine bays do get a lot more hot because, you know, it's a bigger engine, higher compression, and everything is just pretty dang crowded. It's not like the Integra where you have like gaping holes everywhere for, you know, stuff to breathe and airflow. So I'm gonna try a couple things. I'm gonna put this on there. I'm going to take off this shield right here because heat rises, and if you have a shield on your intake, this intake gets pretty dang hot where you can't even touch it, and this basically contains heat. So I'm gonna take this off and see if I get a bit better performance. But yeah, and like less heat soak and all that, just get more just lower the temps in general. And then another thing I was thinking about doing was getting like custom hood risers, but I know they have like these 20mm hood risers, which I don't really like the look of them because it messes with the gap. But I'm gonna try and just get longer bolts and use 10mm spacers in between here. So instead of rising the hood 20mm, it's gonna be 10mm. And then I'm gonna also take off this seal right here and make sure that air could escape, you know, especially I'm pretty sure under, you know, 35 miles per hour, heat will rise, and bumper to bumper traffic, heat's always going to rise. So all I'm looking to do is just you know, have the heat get out of the engine bay. But this way everything's just basically getting contained inside, and this engine suffers in the high heat of SoCal. So yeah, so I'm gonna install this when this is a little bit cooler. So next scene you'll see I'm gonna try and remove these right here, and just to get underneath here to remove this, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to remove the bumper, but I am not gonna remove that bumper to get to that, because B series upper radiator hose, or D series, it's basically a 10-minute job. But yeah, so B series and D series is basically a 10-minute job, but for this looks a little bit more complicated, having to go under there to get it. So I'm gonna try and cut some corners and just take off the radiator support, I guess. Yeah, so we'll just do that. Alright guys, so I just removed these non-OEM clips right here, right there and right there, and I have perfect access underneath, so that's gonna work out very, very nice. So I'm just gonna take off the radiator brackets, take off this, that one right there and this, and I'm gonna try and scoot this forward so I could reach right under there to get the upper clamp off the hose. So yeah. Well, there's the bracket right there. Little grimy, but you don't even see these things anyways because everything's just tucked. So yeah, gonna get the other one off. All right, guys, so I can't really take this off. I took this bolt off right here, took these two, and the spot welds for that center bracket that goes all the way down are busted, and it's actually missing a portion right here, as you could see. This is something I definitely want to take care of ASAP. This bar right here that goes down, and this one, brand new, is about $120, and I think I'm gonna pick one up pretty soon, even though I'm kind of like over my budget already. Well, no, I'm close to the spending limit. I really want to get this because flying on the highway, I do not want this to bust and my hood go smacking the windshield and everything. So this is all really loose, but it's not loose enough to actually come off, and I thought that it was busted down there, but it's not, still holding on, and that's all I could hold. But I could lift it up enough to get pliers in there and pop it off, because as you can see, there's a clamp right there where my finger's at. So I'm just gonna end up doing that and try fitting this one, because I cannot get down there to remove this bumper, and I never have removed it, and I know it'll probably kill me if I did. So yeah, just gonna go without that and try and cut this corner. I'd rather take off all these 10s than try and take off that, because see that ground? That's a long ways down there. So yeah. Alright guys, so I managed to take off the clamp by prying this a little bit up. Got in there. Now I'm just gonna pull it out. I could already twist it, so that's kind of good. It's a little bit hot, so yeah. And this is a little point that I want to make. If you have little dogs like I do, or any type of animal, any dog actually, cat, whatever, and you spill coolant, they eat the coolant, they'll die. So make sure you don't have no little ones running around and they're all put away. Alright guys, so I got that off. Basically, yep, same label. That's pretty funny. Alright guys, so finally got the radiator hose off. It's pretty dang crusty down there, so I gotta clean that up real nice. The old versus new, it's looking like a nice match right here. I probably have to trim it a little bit right there because it's gonna push it into the battery, and the battery does have this tray. I could trim that tray, so it's all right. Rusty fasteners everywhere, but yeah, so gonna get this put back on and throw in a little coolant. All right, so what I'm doing right now, I'm just basically going in there. Not sure if you'll be able to see it, but I'm just chipping away all that crust. You want to make this nice and smooth so it could match up nicely with your new hose. Let's see if I can get a good shot of that crustiness. Yeah, it's pretty bad. This is probably about the worst of it right here. So yeah, so I'm just gonna keep at this and throw on the new hose. Alright, so I took off the battery bracket. Everything in here is just pretty dang crusty. Kind of not used to working on this engine since my other engine was a lot cleaner. But yeah, just trying to make do. And that coolant stinks. I really have to flush that stuff. I'm gonna end up taking out the battery. I have the code for the radio, and I'm gonna end up taking out this little tray right here and see if I could run without the tray, because I don't want to cut it right now if I don't have to. So I'm gonna take this tray out, take the battery out, put the battery back in without the tray, and see if it sits on this little platform, because that's where that little J bolt goes through. So I'm gonna see if the battery could actually mount up without this tray. Let's see how that goes. Alright guys, so this is without cutting right there. It's nicely put right there, and it's not cut. It's very long. I need to cut maybe about 2 inches, and look how much space there is to breathe, for the intake to breathe, instead of having the hose rest up literally against the hose, and it's just heating up everything. So that's a lot more room for a little breeze of air, and the intake is not getting touched by that radiant heat. So yeah, so I'm gonna take this out. I am gonna end up trimming it. I decided to, so I'm just gonna trim it there. Or no, I'll probably go above here because I want to keep that little bracket for the wire loom. So I'm gonna cut it here and then there. So yeah, so I'll do that right now, and then right up, and then that's gonna be enough room for this, because it is kind of hitting a little bit right there. So we'll get that. Alright guys, so I cleaned out this a little bit. I cleaned this out a little bit, and I cut a nice little notch in it right there. So now I'm just gonna cut the hose, put this back in, and see if everything clears. But yeah, so I have until right there, that little notch where the battery sits, so it's a little gap. Should be good. So just gotta keep trimming away at this and trim the hose, and everything is looking pretty good. But that's such a nice color for an engine bay. Looks pretty good. Alright guys, so I got everything just roughly mocked up. I have it cut right there. It's cut right here at the hose. I actually cut them with wire cutters. I don't even have a blade on me. It's pretty sad. I cut it. If you get this hose, it's most likely going to be the same dimensions. It's cut to fit. You have to cut this side 1 inch. 1 inch, maybe 1.25 inches. But yeah, but start with 1 inch. And yeah, so got that in. Nice gap between battery, nice gap between intake, so nice air could flow between here, and it'll just blow away instead of having this just a pocket of heat. And yeah, that looks very, very good right there. I mean, just the fact that this hose is next to the intake sucks, but there's really no way around it. I mean, unless you were to do some crazy piping, like the muscle car guys do, like they could do some crazy aluminum pipes, but go back, down, here, under there, come up. You can do something like that and still have a hose in between, so when the engine flexes and everything, like the motor mounts, it'll still not break and all that. But this is as good as it's gonna get for $21. But yeah, so that is not bad. I'm going to put the 2 clamps in, put this bracket, and put all this stuff back in. Just a bunch of 10s, put these clips back, and it's ready to rock and roll. But that looks so much better. Alright guys, so that's gonna be the little video. I got everything buttoned up, new hose installed, nice gap in between there. Looks good, very, very functional. I have to get these clips right here. I have one more. I'm gonna replace it for this one that looks all bad, and then I put one here, so technically I only have 2 good ones that I'm gonna use, and then I gotta get those right there to align the front end too. So, and the only reason why I put it there because the bumper was already sagging, and that's like a main bumper support and not by the grill. So I'm gonna top it off, let it cycle the fan, and it's gonna be good to go. Alright guys, so if you want to see more of these videos, please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Alright guys, peace.